Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Truth or Demons Podcast, a podcast and a YouTube show dedicated to finding the truths in the paranormal. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm your host, Stevie, and today I have another debunk of a Warren Occult Museum item. I really need to do an extended episode and cover all the items I can in one episode. A lot of them no one knows the history of or where they came from. But today's item I recently learned a lot about, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's get started. Disclaimer. The following episode explores another allegedly haunted artifact from the Warren Occult Museum, a place where folklore, fear, and financial opportunity met for coffee. While these items are often said to be possessed or cursed, there is zero credible evidence they're anything more than just dusty props with good PR. This episode is for education, not for selling you another demonic possession story. So, in the museum, there is an item labeled the Baboon head, and it has a plaque next to it that says, quote, "This artifact was used in black witchcraft rituals before being secured by Ed Warren," end quote. So one of my amazing research team members actually brought this one to my attention, so shout out to her. Before she showed me this particular item, I didn't really know anything about it, and honestly couldn't remember ever seeing it anywhere in my research. But, like I said before, there are a lot of items in this museum. This one will be a really quick, short debunk. There's really not much to this one. And to be completely transparent, I don't have proof per se of this debunk. Just some really good evidence, and in my opinion, it's irrefutable evidence. But before I get too ahead of myself, let's start with this item as it's known today. For those of you watching, I'll put a photo up here on the screen for you to see. And for those of you listening, I'll describe this item really quick. At first glance, it appears to be a werewolf creature, but its plaque says it's a baboon head. Firstly, it's clearly not just a head. It has a body with arms and legs and appears to be wearing a burlap bag type material as a robe or dress. It very much appears to be handmade and has a head full of wiry hair. The face is very similar to that of a wolf. It honestly looks absolutely nothing like a baboon. And a really interesting feature on its face are what appear to be tusks or extra large fangs coming from the lower jaw. These fangs have clearly been added onto the item. And you don't just have to take my word for it. I have another photo of this same item from several years ago, before it was on display for the traveling circus, and for the people who will be ripped off during their stay at the Warren house when they get their 4 hours in the museum with these so-called cursed items. So, in this photo provided by a woman who visited another event hosted by Nesper, there are no additional lowered tusks or fangs. In this photo, it looks even more like a werewolf. So, this item does not even slightly resemble the baboon head it is claimed to be. However, it does resemble something else I found. One of my favorite research tools is the reverse image search option. Time and time again, it has led me straight to evidence proving a lot of these things to be lies. This time, I put the image of this, quote, baboon head into the search engine, and I was shocked and excited at what it presented me with. The search engine immediately took me to an eBay listing of an insanely similar creature. The creature in the eBay listing was titled Halloween Prop, and immediately I noticed it's not exactly the same as the Warren's baboon head. The face is different, a bit more gremlin-like. However, damn near everything else about this eBay listing titled Halloween Prop was identical to the, quote, baboon head from the Warren Occult Museum. So, I opened this eBay listing for this creature being sold as a Halloween prop, and I see there's a couple more, different but also identical. You can tell they're all made by the same creator, and in the title it says, Creatures, with a K, by Kip, K-I-P. Also, in the many pictures posted by the seller, there is a tag attached to the creation with the logo of the creator. The tag also says, Creatures by Kip, with a K. I've put it on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube. Next, I checked the description for any information on the creator. I learned that the creator was from the Philippines and the items were fairly old, not recently made. Other than that, there was no more information. So next, I decided to contact the seller and see if they'd maybe recognize the werewolf/baboon head belonging to the Warren Occult Museum. The seller confirmed for me that he'd never sold that specific creature, but they did agree that the item I showed them did appear to be made by the same creator as the items they were selling on eBay. For those of you listening, there will be photos on the Instagram, and for you watching, here are the images of the eBay items listed and how they compare to this, quote, baboon head on display for the Devils on the Run tour and at the Warren Occult Museum. As you can see, the items all have the same burlap bag style robes on their bodies. They all have the same posture and are all the same size and proportions. They all have the same wiry hair and creepy creature faces. Though not the same faces, you can easily tell the same creature creator created these. And, like I said, this isn't solid proof, but it's damn good evidence. If you don't see these blatant similarities, you're simply choosing not to. Also, the fangs being added to the face of the creature are another blatant lie and slap in the face to the people who want to believe in these things. I've noticed I get called a Warren hater a lot, and people tell me I shouldn't try to convince anyone these things aren't haunted. When the fact of the matter is, if you listen to my show in its entirety, you would see I'm not a Warren hater, and my goal has never been to convince anyone of anything. My goal is simply to present you with the information, and at the very least, hopefully save someone from spending their hard-earned money on lies. These people don't buy tickets thinking none of this is real. They have full faith in what they're told and presented with, because no one is providing them any other information. I simply want to be that source of honest, well-researched information. And if at any point I get something wrong or miss something, please tell me. I will correct anything I get wrong when presented with the evidence. My goal has always been to tell the truths, because so many of them get swept under the rug. So like I said, this one will be a short, sweet one, as I have nothing else to present you with here. No one has any other stories or anecdotal evidence of this specific item, and other than me talking about it here now, I think the only other place it's brought up is on the tour and in the museum. From what I've found, this one doesn't even have any videos of Ed talking about it for me to share with you. If you find any though, please share them with me. It's simply a Halloween decoration picked up in the Philippines at some point or possibly on eBay. If you ask my research team though, they'll remind us that Chris McKennell, the Warrens' grandson, who also claimed to have been present for and helped on many a Warren case, made a trip to and spent some time in the Philippines. It is not at all out of the question to think that Chris could have picked up this item during his visit and brought it back to his grandparents. That would also mean that Chris has always known about the faking and the lying of the history of these items. Suppose it just runs in the family. Until next time. Thank you for watching and or listening. And a big thanks to all you members on YouTube and Patreon. Shout out to you guys. And before I end this, I recently had a song created for the show. So if you would, please enjoy this super awesome song created for me by Jess over at Heart Mode Horror. Thanks, Jess.
Fear in the glass, fear in the frame. Truth hits harder than their game. Truth or demons, curtains hit the floor. She shreds illusions, exposes the lore. No cursed relics, no shadows to dread, just tales they spun to twist what's in your head. Their circus falters, she bends the tale. Receipts in hand, exposing what's real. Truth or demons, she reigns sincere. Her voice shatters myths they once held dear. Annabelle silent, no spirit, no claim, while truth or demons rises above the flames. Conjured the mermaid to drag her name down, but fire and truth wear a fearless crown. Her art is armor, her thread is her sword. Every cruel whisper just falls to the floor. Cease and desist, try to quiet her flame. She stands undaunted, nobody to blame. Annabelle sleeps and a